Alright, Highland Hill Farm, we grow a lot of different types of trees. And the trees that we grow, we always have to do maintenance on so that they're nice looking ornamental trees. And right beside me here, this is a Cleveland pear. We planted this in the spring. Now this is January. We're going through and pruning them in January because that's when we have time to do it. In the springtime when we planted them, they were 4 to 5 feet tall. So this one might be a little bit large. This is about where it was started at in the springtime, and it grew out. It was a single whipped tree with no branches on it. I did one prune during the year, and that was to cut these lower guys so that they weren't going to grow too much. Like you see this guy here, and that guy here was trimmed. That's just to stunt that growth. But I leave this on during the growing season because it funnels more growth and more trunk, or builds more caliber on the trunk onto the tree. There's a little trick that we have in getting the trunks more stronger and sturdier. So the first thing we do in our winter prune, we're going to go through and we're going to prune off all the lower branches off the tree that we don't want on the final version of the tree when it gets ready to sell. And I always like using these Felcos. This is an old model. It's a bypass pruner, and then the blade side should always be facing towards the tree that you're going to keep. That's like the number one thing you have to do. And then when you prune, you want to prune right up next to the trunk, but not actually gouging into the trunk of the tree itself. We want to get just the branch, not doing the damage on the trunk of the tree. So that's important when you're pruning. Next thing is to do is you go through and you identify the central leader on the tree. And this one's fairly easy. I'm going to pick probably this guy here because I like him better. So what we're going to do is we're going to subordinate the other lead and trim it so that the tree becomes denser next year. And after we do that, we just go through and we prune off all the branches to the side so that they don't become competitor leaders to the tree. This is a close-up of the pruning shear that I like, and this is a Felco 2, and I like it because it had a real nice blade to it that I can use and I'm comfortable with. I've used it a lot, I'm comfortable with it. So whenever I prune, I always like to try to keep this blade towards the side that I want to keep. I always envision that this blade is doing the cutting, and this part of the anvil, I guess it's called, is receiving the branch, and when it does its action, I always can see on this side how the branch cracks, but on this side it's nice and clean. I always want to keep that cracking on the part that we're going to discard. That way that crack doesn't go into the trunk of the tree. Same thing with this. Keep the blade towards it so that the cracking right there is on this part that we're discarding, and there's a smooth surface here that's going to stay onto the tree. That's how I like to do it. I believe that most other individuals like it that way, but there's always those that have their altering opinions. Alright, well here's our next one. Again, I like to start by bringing or getting rid of the branches on the bottom that I don't like. So I'm probably going to get this one rid of too. We'll have the branching start somewhere around through here. Then we're going to knock off some of these guys. And there's a whole bunch of little things that I like to do that I think actually help the tree a little bit. For example, you can see each one of these buds, I like to try to cut it so that the bud for next year is going to grow out away from whatever I'm trying to grow into. So if there's like a hole or an empty spot in a tree, I always try to cut it so that the new buds grow in that way, and that the buds that I'm taking off are going to be growing the other way. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, just go up here, we're going to tip this. And I also try to like to put everything on angles on the tree itself too, so that when the raindrops hit it, the water falls off. Imagine if you would cut this flush and the rain would drop on it and it would accumulate at that spot where I cut it at. I believe that's a spot where bacteria and fungus can accumulate in that water droplet and be an entry point for attacking into the tree. So I always like trying to cut it on the angle. Even though it makes a larger cut wound, I think it dries out faster, and having a dry wound is better than having a small wound that's always wet.
This video was produced at Highland Hill Farm by Michael Hurst. If you have any questions for Mike, you can call him at 267-446-2376. And please subscribe to our videos below.